very exciting video. It's been a long time, but I assure you it's well worth the wait. Sat here in my brand new 2022 Shelby GT500 carbon fiber track pack Heritage Edition. Now from the outset, this is a super special vehicle. I talked about it a little bit in my build and configuration video that I actually put out a few months ago now. Hopefully you can hear me over the loud exhaust, but this is a super special vehicle. They're very hard to come by. I initially registered my interest with my local dealer here in Michigan. I told my longtime sales guy that I would be potentially interested in purchasing one of the new GT500s, and he basically put my name on a list, and I sort of forgot all about it for about 8 or 9 months until about 3 months ago. I got a call from him saying, hey Preston, are you still interested in that GT500? And I said, yeah, of course. What's going on? And he said, well, it just so happens I'm getting one allocation. It has to be a carbon fiber track pack car, and it has to be ordered right now. You have to give me your answer right now. And I said, obviously it's a big purchase. Mark, can I think about it for a little while? And he said, no, you gotta tell me right now or it's gonna go to the next person. So obviously I made the split-second decision. I said, I have to get this thing. From what I've heard, they're not going to be making them anymore after 2022. This is the last year for the 6th generation Mustang that this one is. This is going to be the last of the GT500s and most likely the last of the solo single combustion engine GT500. I assume that the replacement will probably be a hybrid or some type of, at least a mild hybrid alternative. But yeah, this is a super special GT500, being the carbon fiber track pack in the Heritage Edition. And interestingly enough, and I just found this out the other day after speaking to some folks on the forum and doing some research, this actually isn't just a carbon fiber track pack Heritage GT500, but I actually learned that this is the first customer delivered carbon fiber track pack Heritage GT500 in the entire world. Believe it or not, I was absolutely blown away when I heard that. The chassis number is not 001 or anything like that. So from what I've heard, the chassis numbers are assigned according to supposedly when the slots come in. For some reason, for one reason or another, mine ended up coming up with the lot much quicker than expected. For 2022, it is one of the first ones produced for the year in general. But I found out with the special trim package being the Heritage and the Carbon, this is actually the first customer vehicle outside of Ford Motor Company. So I'm very blessed and humbled to be able to call it my own. So while the car is kind of warming up into its sort of ideal temperature range to be able to show you the true performance of the GT500, I'm going to talk about a little bit what is the carbon fiber track package, what is the Heritage package, what do they offer you above the standard GT500. So I'll start with the Heritage Edition. Basically what the Heritage Edition is it gives you this special paint called Brittany Blue Metallic. And Brittany Blue Metallic was first featured on the 1967 GT500. Obviously finished in Brittany Blue Metallic. It is a beautiful color, as I showed in my introduction. It's sort of I like to think of it as sort of a Porsche Polar Silver, but with a little bit more tinge of blue. It's an absolutely amazing color. It almost looks sort of like a silvery, more of a silver than a blue. At nighttime, and when it's in direct sunlight, it's just a beautiful sort of kind of not quite sky blue, but it has a really nice sheen to it. It's just a beautiful color, and I think it looks really good offset with the white stripes. And that's another part of the Heritage Edition package, is the Wimbledon white over the top stripe, as well as the side stripes in Wimbledon white. And unique to the Heritage Edition, it has the GT500 logo in script, scripted on the side right by the wheel well there. You cannot get that option outside the Heritage as well. You can get stripes, you can get side stripes and over the top stripes on any GT500 regardless of the particular package you order, but in order to get that GT500 script, it has to be a Heritage Edition. So that's pretty special, and I think it sets the car off really nice. Now, what is the carbon fiber track package? For those of you who are Porsche fans out there, I said in many of my videos, I'm a huge Porsche fanatic. The carbon fiber track package to me is much akin to the Visac package that you get in a Porsche RS product, being a GT2 RS, GT3 RS, And then, you know, in Porsche, that was the magnesium wheels. You had some carbon elements, some lighter materials and things like that. It's pretty similar story here with the carbon fiber track package on the GT500. So what you see from the outset, which is the obvious and most noticeable difference, is the exposed carbon fiber weave wheels. The wheels look absolutely awesome. As you can see, it's the exposed weave. The car's finally starting to warm up. However, they are very delicate, and I'll get into that a little bit more in the video when I talk about sort of my likes and dislikes of the vehicle, having owned it so far. I've had it for about a week and a half, and I'm at 116 miles, so I put a decent amount of miles on it. You know, a lot of these end up going on Bring a Trailer. People stick them away in a shed and never drive them, but I assure you I definitely plan to drive this thing, as I already am. But carbon fiber track package, you get the carbon fiber exposed wheels, which obviously reduces unsprung weight. They're a lot lighter than your aluminum cast counterpart. Wrapped around those carbon fiber wheels are Michelin Sport Cup 2 tires, and obviously those are super aggressive, track-oriented tires. Terrible in the rain, terrible in really any conditions. I would say well, really under 45 degrees Fahrenheit, but I would say that they really don't work properly below 70 degrees Fahrenheit in the sun, to be honest. If you're honest with yourself, you're not going to be getting much performance. You're going to be sliding all over the place, which is part of the fun in a way, especially if you have a death wish. But they are the perfect counterpart to this power plant, though, and that is, of course, the 5.2 liter Predator supercharged V8 pumping out 760 horsepower. It is an absolute honey of a motor. I've been blessed to drive a lot of really cool cars in my short lifetime of 27 years, and I have to say that this is one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting, power plant that I have experienced in a motor vehicle, which is road legal. It is absolutely incredible. As I get up to my better roads up here, I'll show that you'll be able to hear it. I have the exhaust, by the way, in normal mode. I'll go through some of the modes and stuff in a second, but see, I keep getting distracted. It's hard to really focus on anything when you're driving this thing, because it is just such an exciting car to drive, even at low speeds. There's lots of driver involvement. The steering, you can really feel every nook and cranny of the road. It's just a really exciting place to be. But I was talking about the carbon fiber track package, of course. You get the fixed crazy rear wing in the back that is adjustable. You have a little toolkit which you can do manually. It doesn't fold and extend like something, you know, retractable 911 Carrera 4S, for example. It is a fixed rear wing. Really provides a lot of downforce, and as a result, this top speed of this car, I think, is only somewhere in the 180 mile an hour range, so it's not a 200 mile an hour Mustang, but it's really a track-oriented Mustang. That's what Ford touts this as, despite it weighing, I think the curb weight is something in it's around the 4,000 pound range, so it is a pretty chunky car. I was talking to some friends about it the other day, and what it really reminds me of, interestingly, you can tell me in the comments if you agree, it's sort of almost a rear-wheel drive Nissan GTR in a way, because it really uses the weight to its advantage and its dynamicism, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes when I get up to some of my twisties up here. It is absolutely impeccable in its handling capabilities. It is not just a hot rod dragster. It is, in the little time that I've owned it, it is, I would say, right up there with the best of Porsche RS, and I wouldn't go so far, maybe I would go so far as to say maybe Ferrari Pista. I mean, they're going to be a little bit quicker than you're on the track, of course, but this is no joke. This is not just an EcoBoost Mustang shell with a giant engine and a wing and some wheels put on it. This is a professionally designed, extremely well executed track weapon. It truly is. So I'm coming up to some of my better roads here. I'll give you a little tickle of the exhaust here. Hopefully you can hear me over this. Let's switch the exhaust over to track mode. I have the drive mode just in normal right now. You can hear the little blip here. All temperatures are good. Give you a little taste. inspire confidence when you're piloting this thing. It is a very easy car to drive in automatic mode. While I'm on the transmission, I should talk a little bit about it, of course. It is a bespoke, brand new developed transmission just for the GT500. It's a Tremec 7-speed dual clutch, and it is absolutely on the money. Just a crazy amount of performance. That was probably, I don't know, half throttle, if not 3/4 throttle. It is one of those type of cars where you're just faster than every single thing on the road, and you think there's space in between you, but right when you put the pedal down, you're right into somebody's trunk. I mean, it's absolutely crazy the amount of performance that this thing has, and the fact that you have to, all you need is just a regular driver's license in order to buy this thing. Yeah, but as I was saying, the 7-speed dual clutch, you can hear it. It's basically just a tone change. I mean, it is absolutely instantaneous. I can't tell you the exact shift speed off the top of my head, but it is instantaneous, much like that of a Porsche PDK or Ferrari's, F1 dual clutch gearbox. I've been lucky enough to experience some of those, and it's right up there with them, guys. It's absolutely dialed in. A lot of people complain, why isn't this thing available in a manual? Historically, it's always been the manual muscle car, 6-speed, etc. I just think 760 would be too much for this. I really do. You're not going to be able to extract the performance that this engine offers you if you have a manual transmission. And I always say to people that complain about that, there's the GT350 and the GT350R that you could go for, the Mach. Well, I guess considering Ford stopped making the 350, I guess there might be a valid complaint for some. Hopefully they'll bring that back in some form. In the next generation, I was upset to see they canceled that car. But there's the Mach 1 as well, and other iterations of Mustang where you can get a manual. But for this generation of GT500, obviously, they decided to focus on its track capabilities and really extract all the performance they could out of the motor. So going with the dual clutch, I think, made a lot of sense in that respect. Moving on from sort of the powertrain and that crazy performance that I just showed you, I talked a little bit about the dynamicism as well, but surprisingly, despite that great dynamicism and the exciting power plant, this is actually a pretty well-refined car. What I'm going to do is I'll just pop the exhaust into quiet for you really quick. Let me just put it in automatic mode. I'm not sure if it's picking up a lot of road noise. There is some, of course, with these extreme tires and so on. I mean, it's a racing Mustang with Cup 2s on it. Of course, it's not going to be a Rolls Royce, but what I found most surprising about this car after picking it up about a week ago and driving it 100 miles and change is just the ride quality is actually amazing for the type of vehicle that this is, and that's due in great part to its Magna Ride that the Ford racing engineers developed for this vehicle. It rides superlatively for the class of vehicle that it is. I keep talking about Porsche, but the obvious comparison is something like a GT3 or a GT3 RS, and if you've ever been in those cars, I'm just going to keep it manual actually. I enjoy the dual clutch more so, but if you've ever been in a GT3 or a GT3 RS, you know that you're, especially on Michigan roads, which I unfortunately have to experience constantly living in Michigan, you know that the GT3 and the GT3 RS and those Porsches absolutely just throw you around everywhere. I always like to joke with my dad, you feel like popcorn in those things, right? You're bouncing all over the place. You do feel the tram line. This car does tram line, of course, as the 305 fronts and 315 rears, but the ride quality is actually quite amazing. As I said, for being a super sports car that has 760 horsepower and that can offer you the type of performance that you're looking for on the track. One more. It's literally just a pitch change. There's absolutely no lag detectable whatsoever. It just flies through the gears. It's absolutely amazing. It 100% shifts faster than Nissan GTR that we had in the garage a few years ago. perhaps not as quickly as a 992 GT3 or some of the new Porsche products, but it's to the point where it is so negligible, it makes little to no difference whatsoever. I mean, it's these type of cars and the technology nowadays just basically come down to the skill of the driver, because it's just an absolute weapon. Just listen to the noise. How does this thing have a license plate? Here we go. Some wheel spin. Well, I tell you, you can skip the caffeine and the Red Bull in the morning for sure when you own one of these, because it is absolutely insane. While I'm at it, I guess I should talk about sort of the value of this car in the market and talk about some of the competitors. This is a very, very interesting price point, obviously, for something that has 760 horsepower. I mean, really the only, what is the obvious competition, right, is obviously the Chevy Camaro and something like a Dodge Challenger, Red Eye, Hellcat. And aside from the Camaro ZL1, you don't really have another offering in the market around the $120,000 price point that has the sheer power and dynamicism that this car does. I mean, the Challenger is obviously is really a straight line car. There's no real handling or track capabilities that car offers you. It's really just about showing off sheer drag, like I said. The ZL1, I have not experienced one of those. I've heard very good things about them. But really, I think the GT500 is sort of in a class of its own. This punches quite a bit above its weight class, if you ask me. Like I said, for the upteenth time, it's really the direct competitors in my mind are something like the GT3 RS. There's maybe AMG GTR. Not really. Could you even say Audi R8? I'm not sure, being a mid-engine supercar. Huracan? I don't know. I mean, let me know in the comments what you think. But I mean, I think this is. Granted, they're not easy to get, but I really, if you have the opportunity to buy one of these, I would say do it without hesitation. I mean, there aren't very many cars left in this age of inflation, downsizing engines, and doing all this crazy stuff that car enthusiasts like you and me, do not enjoy. They give you the type of sheer driving pleasure that the GT500 does. I think at a pretty reasonable price point for what it offers. I think to get something at this level, you're going to, outside of this vehicle, you're going to have to be spending another $200,000 at least. Something like a 765 LT McLaren, Huracan STO, and things of that sort. But to me, it's the ultimate Mustang. It's the ultimate package. It's time to talk about some of the likes and dislikes with the GT500 as we wrap up this video. I don't know if you can see there's a Corvette C8 lurking in my rearview mirror. I don't think he'd be having a good time. I suggest he backs off a little bit. Nonetheless, some of the likes and dislikes of the GT500. I'll start with the dislikes. The dislike for me is, and perhaps I'm just being too anal, and you guys can let me have it, but this is a very dainty car. And what I mean by that is, I guess it's dependent on where you live, but it just feels very it feels very well built. I'm not talking about the build quality or anything like that, or being critical in any of those respects, but with the carbon wheels, the Cup 2 tires, and just the setup of this vehicle, combined with the horror that is Michigan roads and how much I like driving, it's very difficult for me to want to put a lot of miles on this car. And it pains me to say that, because driving is my favorite thing to do. It's sort of it's a fragile car to deal with. The carbon wheels, I found out that these wheels, if you were to buy them, say your Ford Performance dealer, they're $7,500 a piece, which I could not even believe, and that's surprising considering the track package, the carbon track package itself is $18,500, but the the cost of the individual wheel to the customer. If you're going to say, let's say you have some setup where you're going to put on your Mustang GT, for example, it's going to cost you $7,500 a piece for these wheels. And I have a tire warranty for the Cup 2s. Say if I get a nail or something in it, there's some type of defect, but there was no wheel warranty available for these carbon fiber wheels. So I have to be super careful when I'm driving this car. Every crack in the road is basically basically a threat to bending and scratching them. So in that respect, it's kind of, you know, it does give me a little bit of angst driving this car around. Another dislike, can't really complain about it, but it has to be said, the gas mileage, fuel bill is absolutely abysmal. I think that this car is rated, I want to say, I think it's 12 city, 17 highway, something like that. If you're driving and you're enjoying it for the performance it was built to provide you, you're getting single digits, 100%. It's worse than the TRX that I had. That thing probably got 11 miles per gallon average. Yeah, this is probably going to be seeing 8s and 9s at best. But again, that's not something you don't see people, you know, driving their SVJs or whatever, or, you know, cars like this complaining about gas mileage. If you do, you're just a fool. But it's just worth noting. And I say that because there really aren't many dislikes that I have for the car itself, just aside from, like I said, just some of the fragility that surrounds it. But that's more of a Michigan road complaint, DOT complaint, than it is about the car. Anyway, let's get into some of the likes of the GT500. Obviously, the looks are absolutely drop dead. It is crazy. It has so much road presence. Makes you smile every time I look at it. It's one of those cars, you know, the cheesy saying is, if you walk away from your car and you don't look back at it, you bought the wrong car. This is definitely one of those cars for me. It offers that performance, but it's just so beautiful. It makes me happy to look at it. So I think that's what cars should do for you. Cars should bring you pleasure, and it should hopefully make other people's day as well. I mean, one of the other likes of this car, as I go on and on about, is the chassis dynamics and the way that the engineers have this thing dialed in for the price point. I cannot think of another vehicle that I would rather have around $100,000 than the Shelby GT500, and I mean that truly. It is an absolute weapon when you want it to be, but it is truly a vehicle that if you like, and most people are going to use it this way, let's not kid ourselves, to you know, take the significant other out to dinner or whatever, and just have fun on the weekend. It is comfortable enough to do so. You know, it's obviously not going to be a great road trip car just for sure reasons of gas mileage and things like that. You're going to be limited on space, but it is just a absolutely wonderful package that you can enjoy weekend after weekend, and it will reward you in spades when you take it to the track. You're going to be staying with some of the best drivers on the track, you know, anywhere from some serious Lamborghinis like STO, McLarens, Ferraris, etc. in this thing. I'll tell you, if you're a good driver, unlike me, but if you're a good driver, I'll tell you, you're going to be surprising some folks in this car. I mean, another like, of course, just has to be the sound. I think it's one of the best stock exhausts in the industry right now. I mean, just listen to that downshift. You get a little bit of that burble. It's absolutely beautiful. There's multiple exhaust modes, as I demonstrated earlier. There's the quiet, where everything sort of settles down. It is refined. You're not going to irritate your neighbors. All the way from normal sport to track, and the track exhaust and track mode absolutely screams. Just a fun car. It's an absolutely amazing package. I think that Ford absolutely knocked it out of the park with this thing. You know, as many others say, it's sad that these type of vehicles are going to be coming to an end. You know, I pray that something hopefully turns around where that's not the case. And Ford continues to making amazing vehicles like the GT500, bring back the GT350, and so on, because I really think that they're on the ball right now with some of the products that they're pushing out. Between this, the Raptors, the supposed Raptor R that's coming up with the same Predator 5.2 in it. I can't wait for that thing to come out. I am on a list for one of those. So God willing, I'll be able to get the Raptor R. It'll be a pretty cool addition to the GT500. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed my first impressions of my 2022 GT500 Carbon Fiber Track Pack Heritage Edition. I hope to continue to enjoy and put some miles on it. Like I said, I'm not going to be too afraid of damaging the wheels. But, because I'm just so anal in taking care of my cars. But I do plan to use and enjoy this GT500. As you can see, I got 134 miles on it now. There's no use of buying these things if you don't get pleasure out of them for what they're worth. So I just want to thank you again for watching the PCAF and tuning into the video. I'm your host, Preston. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'm going to do some content on this vehicle coming, as well as some other exciting stuff I have in the pipeline coming very soon. So thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Preston. You're watching the PCAF. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.